Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Hello, Mavericks and new viewers from all over the world. Tonight's show, and I'll call it a show tonight. I don't really like to use the word show very often because I try to keep it more in the vein of a program because we are very news focused around here. But tonight we are dealing with some pop culture and music. And so as much as this will be an academic discussion about pop culture, it will also be entertaining. And so in that way, I suppose it is a show. And we have Ian, the Dragon from Montreal, who will be joining us to help kick the conversation off because he wanted to talk tonight about Marilyn Manson, and I'm not even sure why. So we'll entertain that, and we'll entertain you while you help to entertain everyone, because we will be going to the phones at some point tonight as well. So stay with me. I don't know if we're running on all channels or not. We are, except for Twitch. That's 2 nights in a row. I'll have to check the settings for the Twitch channel. I don't know why we didn't run on Twitch, but we'll work out those technical problems. It's always something. It's always something. And it's going to be something when we come right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was a little surprised when Ian contacted me. I think it was yesterday, to say he wants to talk about Marilyn Manson. What the heck are you talking about?
Well,
Ian.
Marilyn Manson was, for a long time ago, I hope you hear me well, Marilyn Manson was, for a long time, trying to portrait or mirror, basically, the decadence of the U.S.
The who? The what?
The decadence of the U.S.
Oh, decadence. Okay.
Decadence.
I love your accent, man.
Yeah,
and I love your
sucks
Canada
sometimes.
hat, by the way.
Thanks.
Yes.
Actually, I wanted to say hello to all 51st stater that I love my country, and you see, I wear it proud. So
I appreciate that. That's
Montreal too.
There you go. Yeah, well, Canada wouldn't be Canada if we didn't have you guys in Quebec. So thank you for that. But back to the satanic shock. Is he a rock guy? Is that rock? Would you classify that as rock and roll, or?
Actually, it's a subgenre. Actually, Marilyn Manson as a subgenre is, well, he has kind of invented his own subgenre, if you will. thanks to Trent Reznor, that was his producer, and you know him as the singer and the producer. Into the band of Nine Inch Nails. Um, so basically, what happened is that Marilyn Manson invented that new genre, which you could qualify that as techno rock a little bit, maybe. Well, it's in the heavy metal, but yeah, there's a lot of shock rock in what he's doing, because what he's doing basically is pushing a certain extravaganza, if you will. He's always wearing black and white. It's a little bit of gothic, but at the same time, you have that extreme push of the boundaries, which
So
he always
yeah.
been doing for the last 2 or 3 decades now. So
So the reason I thought this might be an appropriate conversation tonight, or a timely uh, conversation, is because of everything that has happened with Bad Bunny. And then I see a lot of other things going on in pop culture. I see things going on in the political world that we've been touching on. And all of those things seem to be converging or coming together at
yes.
this moment. And so I thought this would be a timely conversation. So I welcome this conversation on Marilyn Manson, which is going to broaden out into the Bad Bunny controversy, the Turning Point USA alternative halftime show, and um, and the hypocrisy within the pop culture world, the world of social media influencers, and even the mega matrix. So I'll throw it back to you. And where are we at in this? In your research or whatever it is that you've been doing to look into Marilyn Manson, and why is it a current subject that we should be looking at right now? Because I Marilyn Manson has been off my radar screen for quite a while. I wasn't aware that he was even that active, Ian.
Yeah, well, he's still active. Actually, he has produced a last album in 2024, and actually still on the same vibe. You know, he's trying to portray um, what's going on in the U.S. and to give a perspective to people what who is Marilyn Manson, Brad Warner of his real name. Um, his parent didn't add enough, you know, resources to get, this guy up on the road, if you will. So he was um grown up. He did grown up around with his grandfather,
Mhm.
and from a Baptist Hawaiian family, basically. And in that culture, um, it's really religious and all that, right? And then one day realized by searching into his attic, into his grandfather attic, playboys and stuff from the burlesque time, and actually he was prominent in that timing.
So
So
just slow down a little bit. So Marilyn Manson was influenced by Playboy because he found his father's stash of nudie mags. Is that what
yeah,
you're
well,
saying?
actually, it's more
Uh,
than that. Actually, his grandfather had a huge impact on his on his work, basically, because
because he
he
had
was
nudie mags.
Well, he was exposed young to this. Actually, yes, he was exposed to it very young, and not only
Uh,
that, but the culture in there,
well, see,
like
now there you go, right? We are having this conversation last night about
so,
sex education in schools and how it's inappropriate to expose kids to
drag queen
sexual
and
right? And so you have to go back to getting your education the old-fashioned way with by getting nudie mag. Kids are sneaking nudie mags, or you see, this is the thing, right? It's like uh, if you couldn't get a hold of those, I don't know. Did you ever sneak peeks at the National Geographic magazines when you were a
well,
kid?
I used to read them all the time because I love National, and I love I mean,
And
I
you
love
love
history and
geographic?
all that.
You didn't.
I
You
love
mean
geography and
you
all that.
didn't flip right to the pages of in Africa with the pictures of the women in Africa with wearing no tops and they were
With the
exposing
tatas.
their
Nope.
tatas?
No. No, for some reason that wasn't
No,
my kink. No.
I just I know that was kind of the thing that kids would do back in the day when when you to learn about things. So there was that,
I, I didn't
or
add that imagination.
or in the more in the puritanical times that I came from, there was always the go to Simpson Sears catalog and the lingerie and the women's lingerie section, underwear. That's the way it was back in the day. That was,
Not
oh
guilty.
my. I
That's gonna be
remember
for
those
another
things.
time. We're gonna have to go through
And
midnight
so
if you
look what
want to go
happened.
through that
See,
world.
I got the National Geographic and the Simpson Sears catalog. Marilyn Manson found his grandfather's nudie mags, and look what happened to him. Case closed.
Here you have it, guys. See you on the flip
Twisted his
side. See you
brain.
tomorrow, guys.
Oh my. Oh, okay. So
That
now we know
was
what
a
happened to
short.
Marilyn Manson. I'm not sure why it's timely to talk about that, but okay.
Well, let's go make a
Well,
reference
hang on.
about
I think
Bad
it's
Bunny.
this is timely because it's going to tie into the Bad Bunny stuff, right? Okay.
Exactly. Well, what do we have since, I would say, for the last 30 years and more, as what you look into? Because I do remember, and Rick, you're older than I am. You're a old fossil, as you like to say.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just a young pup. And back in the days when I was looking at Super Bowl, do you remember what was the halftime of Super Bowls?
Well, I remember. What depends on what era you're talking about. It's like the
Let's go back
halftime
30
shows of
years, about 30 years and more.
okay. See, what you're going back to like the 80s or something? Yeah, I mean they've always been a reflection of the current um, state of pop culture and society. You know, yeah. Um, I don't know.
I did ask Rock, and what she did show me basically is picture of school, high school student and orchestra, basically drumming and all that. So basically, it was like mini military march and stuff like that from school and orchestra stuff. Uh, in most part, you
Yeah,
had other stuff, but
bands, yeah, marching bands, and you know, boom, 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 right,
that's it.
and then the tubas and yes, yeah, that's right.
You had that.
The cliched uh, um, halftime show with the marching bands. In fact, my brother, who was very talented musically, was as a youth was in a marching band called the what was it? What were they called? The I don't remember. Marine. I don't know. He was in a he played wind instruments and all kinds of instruments, but yeah, it was in a marching band. But anyhow, yeah, that was just very cliche. That was a cliche, an American cliche in itself. That was part of Americana. But now the halftime shows have turned into these pop culture music extravaganzas.
I'm
Big
gonna
budget
ask you, where did that
stars.
change?
Ah,
When
um,
Mariah Carey actually
Mariah
was
Carey.
Mariah Carey, when she did
Very
actually went to the Super Bowl, she did something kind of close to was it Janet Jackson, who had her boobs coming
Her-
out of.
The old wardrobe malfunction. Yeah.
So you can evolve from there to today, but since then it was the pulp culture that were taking place, the march band in uh Super Bowl
She accidentally
midterms.
on purpose let her boobie slip out. And look what happened. Here we are all these years later talking about her ta-ta. Not the ta-ta. It's just the one. America couldn't take two. He could barely stand the one. So we got a singular breast, and not even the whole thing, just kind of a nipple. So,
Yeah,
and that's
to
the way
make it
was.
fair, you need two to make it
Marilyn
fair.
Manson's, Janet Jackson's ta-ta.
You know that.
But I'll tell you this, Dragon. I'll tell you, Ian. I keep calling you whatever you are. I don't know what you are. You aren't even real. You're just an AI manifestation in the Matrix. You know, I'll have to say this: as much as it was a treat at the time to get a gander at Janet Jackson's ta-ta, nothing compares to Taylor's tatas.
Oh,
Nothing compares to Taylor Swift's tatas. Because
yeah, I know.
because
Have you heard? Have you heard? We
for
might
those of you
have.
who don't know why I'm saying this, it's because we did a story many months ago. We talked about Taylor getting about a National Enquirer story that alleges Taylor Swift had breast enhancement surgery. Which is part of the conversation tonight. And they referred to them as Taylor's tatas in the story. But, therein lies this a part of the whole equation here. Last night we had Rosalind Deckert on, a trans activist, talking about all issues transgender related. And like, there you go, right there. Like, people who judge that for whatever reason or in any way, I have to wonder how they feel about body enhancement surgery. Like, if a woman gets breast enlargement or a butt lift or something, plastic surgery, there's a medical intervention that is clearly aimed at cultural beautification, at least within the frame of Western culture, and it's also a sexual thing because women get that done to make themselves more attractive sexually. So, how different is that versus other kinds of surgery that people who are transgender go through?
I'll say quite honest, my view is there's no difference. If a woman feels that her breast is too small and she wants to enhance her breast to look more beautiful and attractive to others, and same with a kid that feel like, oh, I feel ugly this way, so I probably gonna be cuter if I have some boobs. Same things. It's just, and at the same time, I do remember that there's a um there's in the psychology book, there's something called gender dysphoria, which is basically dissociation of the sex mentally and physically, which has nothing to do with people that has the hermaphrodite, people that has two sex, which has nothing to do with that.
Hermaphrodites, you mean?
Yeah, they have nothing to do with that. That's, on a nutshell, another subject. But no, people that wants to change their self and their physique because they don't feel what they look like or what they are supposed to mirror, I think is as the same as a woman who wants to change something on her body.
I don't know. It depends on your view on that stuff, I guess. Enhancements versus alteration. What's the difference? between an alteration or an enhancement. A lot of women have mastectomies. They have their breasts completely removed. In fact, just a case in point, Kayleigh McEnany, the former press secretary for Donald Trump, had her breasts removed.
Hmm.
And now,
Well,
yeah.
on a nutshell, that's true. Because on one side, it's true that some people, for example, some women has so big breasts that it's has some impact on their life, on their lungs, on their back. It has a lot of weight, so you need to take off the weight to have a better life. That in itself is a medical procedure, which is totally normal. I don't think that it does apply to the person who would change itself for beauty gratification, right? It's different, I think, on that self.
Yeah. See, and Lindy is saying some women do that if they'll have, mastectomy if they have cancer cells. Yes. Well, in the case I know of Kayleigh McEnany, her family had a history of breast cancer. And I think her mom had breast cancer as well. So she didn't have breast cancer, but she chose to have the mastectomy anyway as
Hmm.
a preventive measure. And that's why she did it, as I recall, from what was released publicly. But yeah, people do it for aesthetic reasons. Women uh, these days go through all kinds of different cosmetic or plastic surgeries. Men
Hmm.
too. There are men out there that have penis enlargements. Me personally, no, thank you. I don't. No, just leave it the way it is. I'm cool with that. Don't you dare go down there because that would hurt.
Yeah.
Not interested. Thank you.
Not me neither. And it's like yesterday I was reading the comments on the chat during your conversation with Rosaline, and what was coming out at some point, and it's true that I'll look it up into a psychological um, lens, if you will, is that a kid and a teenager are growing up, and their um, our brains function are just it's a new thing. I mean, we're just growing up, and we have so much hormones and things
our
going on at
brain,
the same
our
time.
brain function is a new thing.
No, it's a new
It's
thing,
a
but
novel
we got
idea.
we
Getting
got
that brain to
we got
function.
new things going on at this time. The hormone and all that. I mean,
Okay.
it's hard for a kid to go through the our teenagers,
Mhm.
because it's we go through so many things at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And this is where I know that some people are angry to know that yes, we need sometimes some medical procedures or whatnot to probably get better to a certain degree, right? I mean, for
We need a medical procedure to make our brains work better. like,
no, in my case, I was ADHD and I was dyslexia, so
okay,
I took Ritalin probably like half of my life for that matter. So
I see.
yeah,
See,
it's just to
I always
keep your
joke whenever
just to keep your neurological patterns correct, if you will.
I always joke about getting a brain transplant. I don't know. It just comes out of me. It's like when people go to the hospital, I go, or if I go to the hospital, I'll just joke and I'll say, "I'm going in. Yeah, I'm going to get a brain transplant. I'm of two minds about it." It's like, yeah, that's how you change your mind. You see, you go in and get it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We Bad Bunny. We should talk about Bad Bunny because
Yeah,
this all ties into the conversation.
it
Uh,
does.
and what did you think of that halftime show?
I didn't watch it, but I can tell you from the research that
That's
I
why you should watch this program because we're going to comment on a halftime show we didn't even watch.
well, I did look at a few little segment, but did
Okay.
watch the whole thing.
Mhm.
And what I can tell you is from with the research I done and a quick peek on all that is that it's all deprivation at the end of the day.
Deprivation?
Yeah, I
You
mean
mean, or decadence? Or,
both actually, because you speak about sex, you speak about kids, having
okay.
a libertine life. Let's put it this way: like
Libertine.
it's
Uh,
okay to have sex all around the place.
okay. A sexually liberal
Yeah,
life,
a
free.
liberal,
Okay.
free sexual life, basically, and yeah,
Uh-huh.
and all that. And I mean, back in my days, that's not how things were working, and I'm sure your mom
Yes,
and
they
dad,
were.
but I'm sure
Yes, they were.
your mom and dad did not raise you this way, and neither mine
That's
did.
right,
So
Dragon. They didn't, because everything that I did was a secret. That's right.
it was
They
either
didn't
in the
raise me at all
basement
like
or
that.
in
They
the
didn't. They
attic.
weren't involved. They did not get involved at all. My dad never had the talk with me. I'm like, I went to National Geographic and the Simpsons catalog. But anyway, I'll go back to you. And I'll share other things with you too. Like I'll share some of my personal secrets, which I probably shouldn't, but I will tonight.
Well, you see, that's the thing. Your parent was keeping things in the attic, like Marilyn Manson's grandfather.
uh, I'll get to that. I'll get to that too. Yeah, I will.
So, I mean, that's the thing. We used to keep ourselves for ourselves back in the days, and that's what people trying to come back to. So,
Mm.
I think that's where you see the shadow self coming out. If we can put a Carl Jung perspective into it.
Well, what was it about that? So you're saying that the Bad Bunny performance was decadent and depraved, right?
In
Because
the
he had
lyrics, in the
because
lyrics.
in Spanish the lyrics were explicit.
Hmm.
So, okay, so let's go over these lyrics a little bit. So uh, key songs were in English. I think it's called My Auntie Asked Me, an ode to promiscuity and casual relationships. And some of the lines include in English now, because well, it's an English country, so you can't. You're giving a middle finger to the entire country if you speak Spanish. Um, anyway, let the ones I already effed smile is one line. Brags about a girl from Barcelona and says his D blank 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 K is fire. Um, and in the chorus, it says, "Today I have one, tomorrow I'll have another. Hey, there's no wedding." Oh my God, sex out of wedlock. How scandalous. Safira? Safira? I see. I hadn't even heard of Bad Bunny until the Super Bowl because I'm too old. I am a fossil. So in this song, some of the controversial lyrics included my DI blank K is on the loose. Oh my God. Oh, how scandalous. My DI blank K is being chased. I know it's a problem, isn't it? Can you relate to that, Dragon?
Uh, well, as a dragon, I have a tail, and people don't look after it because it whip hard. So
Oh my God. Is that why they call you the Rising Dragon? Huh? Huh?
I didn't thought
Huh?
of that one, but you got me now.
Yes, you see. Well, you see, that's what rock and roll is all about, though.
Rick
Rising
made
Dragon.
R-
It's about the
Rick
double
made it.
entendre. It's about the double meaning of lyrics. You see, this
Hmm.
is the thing. It's like I see all these conservatives in the MAGA matrix having a meltdown. It's a MAGA matrix meltdown over Bad Bunny. Like they are so freaking hypocritical in so many ways because Look, man, this is nothing new. It's nothing new at all. Rock and roll music has always been controversial, whether you're talking about the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction
Oh,
or
we can go back to the
or
50s. I mean, Elvis
right.
Presley was the first one.
That's where I was going. Well, he wasn't. No, he wasn't the first one. It's always been like this. Actually, maybe you remember it that way, but no, 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 no.
No,
It
it's
goes
true.
way back before that. There's the Everly Brothers and "Wake Up, Little Susie." Like that was "Wake Up, a Little Susie,
See,
Wake Up,"
wake up.
right? Because she fell asleep at the drive-in, fell asleep, right? And and then they got home late, and so her reputation was shot, right?
Ah.
And that song, so it's like "Wake Up, a Little Susie, Wake Up." I'll get the lyrics.
Well, I can even go back even beyond that. I can go to 1990, 1910, when you had actually the blues.
Oh,
The
not
blues
the
was
the
something back then.
1990. The blues go
Uh,
back way longer
no, no, no. I
before
mean,
that.
when I say 1910 and I say like
Or 1910.
1890, 1890, sorry, 1890.
Blues has its root. The blues has its roots in like Africa, man. It's like black
Yep,
culture. That's why, especially people in the deep south in the U.S. hated it so much initially. Like, and a lot of people still do. It was called the devil's music, along with jazz,
yep.
right? And so, uh,
And I love playing blues.
and yet the blues and jazz form it forms the foundation for rock and roll, and even songs like "Wake Up, Little Susie." Here are the
Yep.
"Wake Up, Little Susie, Wake Up." We've both been sound asleep. Wake up, little Susie, and weep. The movie's over. It's 4 o'clock, and we're in trouble deep. Wake up, little Susie. Well, what are we going to tell your mama? What are we going to tell your pa? What are we going to tell our friends when they say, ooh la la, the double meaning of the words? And wake up, little Susie. Well, I told your mama that you'd be in by 10. Well, Susie, baby, looks like we goofed again because you just can't keep it in your pants, man. That's what it comes down to. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie, blah, blah, blah. The movie wasn't so hot. It didn't have much of a plot. Of course not. It's movie and something. And we fell asleep. Our goose is cooked. Our reputation is shot. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. So this is nothing new.
No, it's nothing
Right?
new, but the evolution of the thing creates that hyperloop of, how can I put that? It's a renaissance
That's
every 10, 20
that
years.
that's not a renaissance. That's but it is maybe depending on your point of view, it could be an evolution or a devolution. It could be a deterioration of social standards, or maybe it could be a liberating thing because it just it liberates people's sexuality and gives them more freedom to express themselves sexually or to engage in relationships without being judged as harshly. You can look at it either way, or maybe you think that the moral standards have gone too far, but that's why it's controversial. That's why it's nothing new. This is why something like the Super Bowl becomes a firestorm of debate, and that debate fuels ratings. Don't kid yourself. A lot of this stuff is
It's a
done to
it's a
generate
culture war.
controversy, to keep people engaged, to build ratings. And here we are days later, still talking about it and keeping
Hmm.
the focus on the Super Bowl.
Well, it's a culture war. I think that has been sort of rambling for the last almost 200 years now. If you look it up this
Oh
way.
well, even longer ago than that.
Hmm.
It's all through time. It is how people view culture. It's religion. There's religious music. There is the Everly Brothers. I mean, I think there's a religious thread that runs through that. That those artists, and it's rock and roll. And you mentioned Elvis, like the Everly, that song "Wake Up Little Susie" was banned on radio stations, and yet today, is that even remotely controversial? You go to any classic car show, and you're probably going, because they have 50s cruisers there, you're likely going to hear that song played at some point during these family events, which are often very charity focused, community based, and they're playing on the PA systems as kind of an addition to the retro theme of these old car shows. So that's a staple tune today, and kids just listen to it, and families, and they bop along to it, and without a second thought. But back in the day, that was so controversial, it was taken off the playlists at some radio stations. Can you
Yeah,
believe
well,
that? Can you believe it?
it's one of the rare thing that I knew, but I couldn't believe it when I heard that first. And yeah, it's true that this song has that connotation. But when I was a young kid, and still today, I listen to it and I don't feel much of the double entendre, probably because I'm too normalized to it. So,
Which song? The "Wake Up Little Susie" song, you mean?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's because
because
it's tame by today's standards, right? I mean, could you imagine in the 1950s a song playing on the radio where they were talking about eating a girl's A blank S, or eating, swallowing a DI blank blank K, or you know, no
no,
way.
that
They'll
kind of
probably get
thing
you
would
thrown
have
in
not.
jail.
Yeah, that's pure indecence, and that's
So is it
what's
indecent
probably
today?
by standard it should be,
Is it?
but the standard are not what it used to be 50, 60 years ago. So
Well, and that's the thing that a lot of people would like to reset. They want a great cultural reset. They want to rewind to the 1950s, or the 1970s. In fact, I think it was Stephen Miller who, I think it was over New Year's, he posted on social media. You know who Stephen Miller is? The
yeah.
the one of the strategists and advisors to the Trump administration, who is very, I would say, pretty extreme if you get to know anything about his background.
Hmm.
Um, I think he's pretty much a straight up white supremacist, and they watched, what was it? It was a 1970s New Year's Eve special with like Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and those guys. That's what he I guess his family watched over the holidays, and so they looked very um well, conservative, shall we say, and very white. Let me see here. I'll see if I can find it. I don't know. You can talk while I look. Don't be shy. Don't leave too much dead air.
All right. Well, I'll say this. What I would probably look into is how would Carl Jung would have react to all this.
You better tell people who Carl Jung is, because I'm sure a lot of people won't know.
Well, Carl Jung was a psychologist back in the 1920s, and he was actually working into self self shadow, if you will, or also the inconscience. So basically, all what is hidden deep inside of you, and which can, at some point, either destroy you or make you a better person. So, and he was I would say, extremely intelligent person.
I guess opinions vary. uh on that too. I don't know. I can't find the stupid. It doesn't really matter. I'll just find something like this. Here, I'll just bring this up. Okay, let's just do a Twitter scroll. I just brought up New Year's Eve Dean Martin. But here's the thing: it's like, is this even wholesome entertainment? Because I remember back in the 1970s how things were, man. And you know what it was all about? It was about smoking and drinking, and it was pretty gross, actually.
My dad grew up in that time, so
You know, I'm going to pull the music down. Classic 60s magic. Petula Clark lighting up the Dean Martin show in 1967 with Downtown. Yep.
Mhm.
Na 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 Downtown. And there's Dino. There they are. There's Dino and Frankie. Oh, and that was those were such wholesome times. You can go and listen, learn your history, and you'll learn all about the mafia ties to the entertainment business and those two gentlemen right there, because everything was so much better. Which, in a lot of ways it was better, but but underneath that veneer, that facade, there was a lot of stuff going on, and a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of womanizing. And there he is smoking his smoke and promoting lung cancer and alcoholism. And he would appear on the Johnny Carson show at times, completely smashed. And that was family entertainment. Uh, Ed McMahon, I think, pissed off Johnny Carson at one time so much he almost lost his gig as Carson's sidekick because he was so inebriated one night. Thames were not that wholesome, not really. I mean, they were cool dudes, very suave, getting the babes and singing their tunes and crooning and doing it their way. But what was really going on behind the scenes after this Christmas special with Dean and Frank and the two babes there,
Hmm.
what was going on in the dressing rooms afterward, I have to wonder, or maybe I don't have to wonder. I think we know a lot of things that were going on. Oh, see, out in front, it looks like that, but behind the scenes, it was never that pure. And look, it was never that pure in the 1930s or the 1920s when you had flappers. You know what flappers were?
Yeah, underneath your thighs.
Well, no, they were like dancers, flappers.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it was the Roaring Twenties, right? And they would dress in their flapper outfits and the nightclubs and do the Charleston and stuff like that.
But everything was hidden underneath the surface. That's the
Right,
thing.
that's right. And even
Everyone
during the
was.
Victorian era, I mean, it was supposed to be so pure, and yet they were all banging each other's brains out behind the scenes. That's what was going on, man.
We could go back and look it up, guys. That's in history. I'm not making anything up. Okay, if you go back to your Roman history, male concubine was a um, it was a shown of high stature and high wealth. If you were someone with some kids around you and there were sexual toys for you, it was a sign of you were wealthy. And we're going back to 500 before Christ, I think,
So I mean, look, you have
or after.
we started out talking about Marilyn Manson, right? But then we got into the Bad Bunny stuff and the explicit lyrics. So the two things, again, more than one thing can be true at the same time. And the truth of the Bad Bunny halftime show is that on the one hand, it was sexually explicit, the language, the Spanish language, maybe masking that to the English audience,
Hmm.
English portion of the audience. but at the same time, it had a very positive and uplifting message for some people who viewed that as being inclusive and trying to bring maybe even oppressed nation states together in a spirit of unity and camaraderie or something. Although I would say it was more maybe a hit. There was hidden messaging in there, moving us all toward this new world order, where we're going to have a completely different geopolitical landscape, where we have North America all combined into just one big America. But anyway, that aside, you can interpret it that in a multitude of ways. So there were a lot of different messages came out of that show, and that's why it was controversial. That's also why it's art, and this was, in some respects, society or culture being reflected back through the art, and in other ways, it's the art influencing culture and society.
Well, art is subjective, I can tell you that. For being an artist myself, and I can tell you that also art is the window of your shadow self and your unconscious, because sometimes, and I do some painting myself, things comes out without I even know. I'm trying to do something and something else come out and I see something that was deep down, like repressed or something, and I just keep going with it and come out with something else.
So
So,
the yeah, so the Turning Point USA halftime show, the alternative show, was that more wholesome or what more whatever, more American? Was it a show that was more family friendly or something? Because I didn't watch that whole halftime show either, but I did take note of a few things that I thought were I who was the artist who stood there and had the microphone stand with what looked like brass knuckles?
good question. I don't remember. But I can tell you something though. It goes also back to maybe the way that some people will portray um, Miss Kirk by being, say, for example, the brightest or the most happiest bride ever seen in the world. Like she's always smiling, and like if the death of her husband never has had any consequences on her emotional life, kind of thing. Uh, is there something into it? Is there, I don't know. Are we speaking about
Yeah, right here.
emancipation?
Yeah, who's this guy? Is that's not this isn't I don't pay attention to these guys either. So I'm an equal opportunity uh not paying attention to her person. But here are some images. This is the guy with to me it looks like brass knuckles.
Hmm.
Um who is that? Is that Jelly Roll Jelly Bean? Whatever the hell that guy's name is. That's Brantley Gilbert.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's the one that is I as soon as I tuned in, it was like, oh, I saw that. And I was like, what the that doesn't look very family friendly to me. Um, get rid of that. With a welded chain, and then up there that you can put your fingers through those things. It looks like brass knuckles. I
Hmm.
don't know if that's what it's supposed to be, but that's the first thing I thought of when I saw it. And then you're seeing here that they're being accused of having a not family friendly broadcast. Rapper turned country rock star Kid Rock was the headlining act at the Turning Point USA All American Halftime Show with Brantley Gilbert, Lee Brice, and rising country music star Gabby Barrett also participating in the festivities. The YouTube live stream had over 5 million views at one point, while competing with Bad Bunny in the actual Super Bowl halftime show. And what's the criticism here?
Brass knuckle has this symbolism
Mhm.
of um, army or basically fighting. It's a fighting symbolic, basically. So basically,
Yeah.
it's a call for fight. It's a call for unification. I don't know. How do you unify people with a brass knuckle?
I don't think there's any question that there's an undercurrent of violent tendencies or a violent emotion. Maybe it is maybe the better word. But like, here's the questionable gardener, an X account highlighted here. With the post saying last night's Turning Point USA Super Bowl halftime show was more than a performance, it was a story. Charlie Kirk told to seek Christ changed our lives. The show echoed that. The beer guzzling, foul mouthed racket boy, bad boy Kid Rock came out in shorts, and his song about drugs. Let's go to X and see what it says. Doing this on the fly here. Came out in shorts, and his song about drugs and hookers. Yeah. After a more somber performance in the middle that some thought was an odd rock to classic transition, it was much more. It was a turning point. After the song, the message of salvation was subtly introduced as the singer reemerged as his Christian name, Robert Ritchie, to sing Till You Can't. And Robert reminded us to dust off the Bible and seek salvation as Charlie did. But don't you forget about them hookers and the beer. It's just it's so contradictory and hypocritical, and the irony is there. I just I can't help but notice. It's not that pure, folks.
You know what? It reminds me the last thing I sent it to you earlier before the program.
Uh-huh.
Theater is church. God is your God is in your TV. Priest is your DJ, and the chores is auto-tuned, and the tips jars is your only fan.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We'll be going to the phones soon for anybody that wants to weigh in on this. As don't go away, because we're going to come right back on the other side of this.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity, the Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. It custom shelves for your books or your tech. Cozy space for your treasures to protect. Built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. Designed and developed by Brightleaf Innovations. Proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea and exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
Maverick News isn't just a news outlet, it's a community of truth seekers. Your donation at freedomreporters.com fuels our mission to report the stories that mainstream media won't touch. Thank you, Maverick family.
Okay, let's bring the rising dragon back in.
And the one and only Rick Walker.
The rising dragon. Oh, ladies, calm down. There's something I can't unsee in my head tonight.
when you go into a dark road, there's a hard time to go back into the right one, eh?
Oh my. Well, we were talking about sex education last night. We mentioned it again earlier in the broadcast. We talked about in the absence of that, how young people used to get their sex education through the National Geographics and the images of topless women from Africa and the Sears. Well, in Canada, it was the Simpson Sears catalogs or the Eaton's catalogs, where you would flip instantly to the women's underwear section.
We had Zillers too.
Yeah, well, there's always others. Yeah. And I guess it shows that it's true what they say about porn. The more you consume, the worse it has to be, or the more explicit it has to be. It's like a drug, and you have to get more and more explicit stuff, because now, I don't know, the underwear section just doesn't do it for me anymore. It's maybe it could be I'm getting old too.
And the panties are getting smaller and smaller each year. Yeah. I mean, we have a joke that goes like, now they're wearing dental floss. So I mean, it's just a joke, guys. But it's all fun.
Okay, so, and I see a lot of people want to restore our nation or nations or whatever, and bring back those more wholesome times or whatever. And people are really upset about transgender people, men that wear women's clothes and things like that, and drag queen story time. But you know what I remember? I'm going to take you back to like the 70s.
Sure.
Do you remember Monty Python?
Oh, the name rings a bell, and I've seen few of his stuff long time ago.
Yeah, I won't run any of the actual clips, but I'll bring up some images. And Benny Hill.
Oh, this one I do remember. My dad used to watch him.
It was at the time they had skits like this. Okay. They used to run this stuff on public broadcasting, PBS in the States. At least they did on
in the 90s. It was on replay on national TV or on my TV. I mean, I used to listen to it back in the probably in the 90s on a regular channel. Around probably 11.
This was really my first exposure to what you would call drag, and it was on Monty Python. It didn't seem to bother. I don't know if it bothered people. I never heard anybody complaining about it at the time, and today I don't think anybody ever complains or even looks at it in that way. But ultimately, that's what this is. This is drag.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a comedy show. It was, internationally successful. I used to watch it when I was a kid. When I was young, I'm talking, 10 years old, in that range. My friends and I used to camp out in each other's backyards in our tents, right? And during the summers. And what we'd do is we'd run extension cords out there and we'd set up, and I mean we'd be living in the lap of luxury because we'd have all of the comforts of home in our tents, including, portable TVs, and we'd be watching Monty Python uh, at night on the weekends when this was running, and there was the Monty Python drag skits, which were
Hmm.
hilarious. But people today, some people get all bent out of shape about it. And I understand, and of course that's not in schools. But there I was in elementary school, and we're watching Monty Python drag. Different, I guess. The messaging, the content, different. It. What do you think? What do you do?
Well, back in the days, I think there were a little bit of, how can I put that? They would have put certain balance into that. It's not hypersexual, but there's a little bit of in the between. There's some
Mhm.
innuendo going on in there, but it's not like at seven
I
o'clock
don't.
saying explicitly, I'm going to eat a dy whatever and dot 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 and do something with my mouth, kind of thing, which is
But
what we
but
hear today.
but see, the thing is, Benny Hill is being banned now for being. It's viewed in a lot of places as being sexist.
Hmm.
So it doesn't run as much as it used to. And there's Benny Hill doing drag. I mean, that was a big thing at the time. Uh, and if you know about drag and Rosalind, I don't know a lot about it, but as a performing art, I think Rosalind said, and I think this is true. You can be gay, you could be transgender, you could be straight and do drag because it's a performance, right? That's like Robin Williams in Mrs. Doubtfire, which
Yeah,
was a movie mentioned last night. That's basically a form of drag, I guess.
one of my
Uh,
favorite movie
that
where
movie.
one of my favorite movie actually, where the thing that I've kind of hold on from that movie was, when you're a dad, you want to do anything for your kids and you want to
Mhm.
be there for them. What did the character did in the movie was trying to find a loop to get to his kid
Yeah, he
for the
wanted to be
right
with his
reason.
kids because they was splitting up with his wife, and
For
he
the
missed
right
his
reason.
kids so much that he dressed up like a woman and applied to be a housekeeper. Oh, and the wife never even noticed. It was funny, but unbelievable, but funny.
Till he burns his
Yeah.
tatas.
Yeah, I don't, and I still don't really remember how that movie ended, but maybe someone in a little while when we have the call-in portion will remember and help us along there a little bit. But I do remember I liked it. And do you know where I saw Mrs. Doubtfire? At the Mustang Drive-In Theater in London, Ontario, which is still there today.
Hmm.
And yeah, I saw it with my girlfriend at the time. Don't tell my wife.
Well, in
It
Montreal,
wasn't her yet. Yeah.
I think they were the theatrical version
Yeah.
at Place du Rideau Vert, if I'm not mistaken. So,
hmm So I don't know. The more things change, the more they stay the same. They just manifest themselves in different ways. This is culture. This is an evolution or a devolution,
well,
maybe a deterioration, maybe an advanced forward. It depends on your perspective, I suppose.
the good example is Benny Hill. Like you said, in some country now, he's being banned because of sexism,
Mhm.
allegedly. But I mean, what was it? Sexism back then in the 80s or the 70s?
It wasn't really viewed that way, right?
That's it. It's because the culture changed, the mentality of the people changed. Back in the days, I mean, your daughter, sorry to say that like that, you wouldn't have looked at your daughter wearing small little tongues. And when you look at hypersexual girls of in our generation, that's what I see. That's what I see on the street. Girls about 15-year-old wearing
Can we talk?
stuff.
We can have this conversation, but please just leave my daughter out of it because you're giving me the heebie-jeebies. I
Yeah,
I don't want
sorry, I didn't
that
want it
out
to be
in that context at
disrespectful.
all. No, no, no. She's married now, by the way, and
No,
and
no disrespectful meaning.
she's no, I don't
But
want to even. No, I can't. No. Okay, just put that out of my mind. Rising Dragon. Put that back in my brain. As a father, you can't even imagine. See, I just don't want to think about my kids doing anything like that at all. Just I'd have to think of them in more puritanical terms.
exactly,
I just,
exactly.
but
Here goes the pure ways to look at things, right?
yeah, that's why
We need to go
you
back to
never.
that.
That's why no boy, no man is ever good enough for your daughter, right? It's like, yeah,
And I'm
stay
sorry,
away. Get the
I didn't
shotgun
want it
out.
to disrespect your daughter at all, but
Uh,
it was just an example that I wanted to bring around so people have a broader perspective of it. But yeah, I mean, I would have not let my daughter wear that kind of things that today girls wear, right? Back in the days, that would have not been a thing.
well, that's not just back in the day. This is the 70s, right?
Hmm.
60s, 70s, Benny Hill. And this is why I guess it's considered sexist. But hell, man, like look at what's out there today. This is why, again, it's this. I've always thought it's just true. Our society is so contradictory and hypocritical because over here we have this get the smelling salts out because this is too explicit, and yet you these same people, I know they're going online and uh they're going straight to the porn sites and they're right, and the porn that's out there online is so explicit,
Mm.
uh right, and here's the thing too. It's like I know that the Canadian government is looking at the New Brunswick government is not going to use X anymore. They're not going to post any. They're not going to have accounts. They're not going to post material out there for the community on X. Uh, and there are, I think, a bunch of reasons why. It's being framed by the conservative side as censorship because there is. I see that there is actually an initiative out there to keep X online because X is a US based social media weapon. I'll put it that way, that
Oh, it
Elon Musk
is.
controls so they can manipulate elections,
It's a
right?
mind weapon. It's a
It
mind weapon.
absolutely is. And it's full of propaganda. It is full of um, bullshit. It's full of truth. It's full of uh, AI fakes. It's just absolute. It's an absolute cesspool of crap and truth. It's just everything, and it is also a platform for porn, which I
Actually,
wasn't
it's
even aware of until about 6 months ago. Somebody pointed it out to me.
oh, my
You can get
friend.
hardcore porn, like they just put it up.
Look, I'll tell you, okay? There's so many people that trying to get a hold of me, bots, right? That is
Women, I'm
like
sure, Rising Dragon.
women's ish, right? Whatever.
Yes,
That goes like, if you want to have a beautiful time, Rick, come and DM me.
oh yeah. The scam, the what do they call it? The
Or here's my OnlyFans page here. Click here.
mm,
Yeah, on
yeah,
X.
yeah, where they go after men, and you have anyway. That's a whole other scam thing we could talk about another night. But um, here's the question, and this is I think this is a legitimate thing. If you have a government website or a government social media account where you're putting up information for the community,
Yep.
would you put it on Pornhub?
No.
Probably not, right? And yet you can see the same level of explicitness on X. So is
True.
it appropriate for the government to post material on any social media platform where that kind of content is available?
No, I don't think so. Because anyone like me could probably do some material and put the links as a, answer or repost, whatnot, under the post of that said government, and expose my stuff there, or promote.
What is the difference between
Uh,
putting it on? This is a question, and I'm
don't There's no difference. I think it's the same. It's I wouldn't put as a journalist or as a wannabe politician something on Pornhub, because it's I want to get some rating, or I want to get some people to see my, I don't know. Would you see Trump do send his electoral promise and whatnot on Pornhub and those kind of thing? I
Well,
don't
all the
think so.
politicians are on there. They have a big audience, a big base of users, and so everybody goes there because that's where the people are. But included in that is pornography, like straight up hardcore, explicit porn, which is accessible.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think that see if the government posted stuff on Pornhub, which I think it's Canadian owned Pornhub.
Actually, it's from a Montrealer, if
Yeah,
my memory is
that's right.
correct.
And so
Rosemary says, "Don't expose your stuff." You know what? I'll keep it for
That's okay.
myself.
So, but if the government was posting material for the community on Pornhub, I think heads would roll. And yet, and the people on the conservative side would be just flipping out. But because they want to take it down off X, they're flipping out, saying that's censorship. They don't want to use X anymore. Well, and one of the main reasons was that there is because the AI fakes were being created through Grok or their image generator or whatever, their AI system, and they were creating fake porn of well-known people and other people to dox them. And so the government's saying, wait a minute, we don't want to be on here. And so I was listening to a live streamer today on the conservative side. I don't know if I should say the name or not. I've never watched this guy before, but I thought it was just absolute crap that this person was spewing. But they were like, "Oh, yeah, it's just the government, the Canadian Communist government is just engaging in censorship. Because they want you to live in a cardboard box or whatever." I don't know, man. It was like, well, shut up, man. Like, I don't know if I understand the concern.
Well, guidelines are there to keep things PG or not, depend on where you go, right? I mean,
Yeah.
for example, on your program, we're supposed to be PG, right? So we keep things family related, right?
Semi-PG. I do get my mouth washed out with soap from
right?
time to time.
Yeah, I know we have to. Me and Linda, we have to put some soap on your mouth.
Because see, over at Facebook, I don't think correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they allow porn or hardcore or explicit material like that on Facebook, and I don't think that they allow it on YouTube either. Do they?
I don't know if you. I think on Facebook you can find some actually.
Yeah,
Some
but I don't think
people
it's
can
supposed to be
find.
there, is it? Well,
No,
anyway,
they pass through some loopholes, but if you expose them, they'll be banned. Yeah, but
yeah.
there's some group of stuff going on. Yeah,
But over
um,
on X, it's anything goes, right? And so, and that's part of the free speech equation. It's like it's sexually explicit material. Uh, that's a form of expression and free speech, and there are legal precedents that have been set through time because of legal challenges against like Larry Flint from Hustler magazine. There was that movie with Woody Harrelson where he
yep.
portrayed Larry Flint, and and they explore those issues in that movie. Um, and that brings us back full circle. I'm going to tell you something that's going to talking about Bad Bunny, right? Well, why would you, what? Here's my take on Bad Bunny. The name. It's a double meaning, which is to say it's a bad bunny, which is bunnies. You know what bunnies do? They bang
Ups
their brains
everywhere.
out and breed like crazy, right? And that's why Playboy, Hugh Hefner, that's why they had the symbol of the bunny,
Yep.
because people F like bunnies, right? So that's why they use the symbol of the bunny, because bunnies breed like crazy. So that's what that image is all about, that iconic logo. And
And
there's
he's bad because
even
he's
more explicit in some ways than Playboy was. Which brings me back to my my, my version of sex education, which may or may not be viewed as the healthiest way to learn about the birds and the bees. But when I was young, during those campouts with my friends, we got our hands on Playboy magazines, and we had them in the tents, and we put them under the air mattresses, right? And they were always had Playboys and Penthouse magazines. When I was like probably 10 or whatever, 10,
Mhm.
11, 12 years old, camping out,
It
12,
it
13.
always been into dépanneurs and store.
Yeah.
It was just in the where you had your magazine. It was in the back of the
Mhm.
uh, of the aisle, just to make sure that it was hidden behind the stuff.
Well,
So
yeah, we used to go down to the used bookstores and buy them. We just as kids, we'd go buy these things. And we had we had stacks of them. We didn't have to raid our dad's or our grandfather's Playboy stash. We had our own, man. We had like a whole library full. We had the tents full of this stuff. I don't even know if it would qualify as porn today. It's just pictures of beautiful women photographed for Playboy. The
well,
Playboy
there's a
bunnies and the
difference
penthouse
also.
pets.
There's
They
a
called them.
difference between, I would say, Playboy and Penthouse and those other that came after Playboy that was more X-rated.
They were out at the same time. We had some of those too. They were raunchier, I guess you would say. There were some from Britain at the time that I remember that were available in those used bookstores. There was one called Knave, Knave. I don't know if they still make it or not. There was I'm telling stories out of school now. What were the other ones that were out at the time? I think maybe are still around. Cherry magazine. There was
Hmm.
there's a double meaning for a word. There was gallery and
Yeah, I used
what
to
were some
see
of the other
those.
ones? Um, Boy, I'm running
Score.
out. Oh yeah. I remember those. I think that's still around. I
Oh,
think.
I
I
think
think I
so.
saw it at a truck stop at the magazine rack.
Playgirl. Serge asked. Well, Playgirl
Playgirl. Yeah, we
was
didn't.
guy.
I never bought Playgirl, but didn't Burt Reynolds pose the movie star? Didn't he pose for Playgirl at one point? I think he
I
did.
think so. I don't know because I don't look at that. But you Glifner always was portrayed like the nice uncle, like the guy who were looking at women like a piece of art. They are just
Mm.
they're not a piece of meat that you want to consume, if you catch my drift.
I don't
So
know about that, Dragon. They looked like tasty morsels to me at the time, and but I was young, and there were a lot of hormones pumping at the time.
for
And I
sure.
was hungry. I was very hungry.
Don't tell that to your wife.
I know.
But no, back in then, I think
In fact,
there.
I was all set up, and I was ready for a barbecue. I'll tell you that. At the time, but a late night barbecue. But,
Are we going in that road?
well, you
No,
want to
sir.
talk about double meaning of words. I mean that in the purest and cleanest and most Christian way possible.
But it's true that I think it was an art back then, and it did transform to something more corrupted, probably to a certain degree.
Corrupted. There's a word.
Because burlesque was an art back then.
Yes,
When we
it
go
still
back
is.
to the
It's just that it's not as popular because it's not explicit enough to compete.
what
That's
are
the thing.
pinups? What are pinups?
Well, here I'll tell you. See, are you familiar with the famous photos of Marilyn Monroe on the red background where she's laying
Hmm.
sprawled out?
Yeah,
Right? Everybody knows those images, right?
I
I
did.
won't show them here because she is naked in them. Okay,
It was in Playboy.
so see, as a kid, when I was downtown, I used to go downtown every Friday, sometimes Saturdays, on the bus and do the used bookstores, because not just to buy the nudie mags. Okay, we were in there. I was in there looking at other things too and buying books and learning, and that was my library, really, in many ways. But there was also a record store, and oh yeah, records. You remember those vinyl records? And they had posters for sale. And I went in there and I was flipping through, and they had women in bikinis and those kinds of things, and cars and whatever. And then there was the Marilyn Monroe
Hmm.
poster, like that photo in poster size with her laying on that red. And I was just mesmerized by that. And I was like, oh, I was like, holy crap. I think that was the first time I'd ever seen it. And I was like, oh, oh, I'm like, and so I was like, I gotta have that. So I bought that thing, man. I bought that poster and I took it home and I put it up in my room. And speaking of parents, I put the Marilyn Monroe poster up on my wall. How old would I be? Oh, I couldn't have been older than maybe 11 or 12. And I had that thing. Is this a crime? Am I committing a crime
Well,
here?
look,
Am I
I'm
going
born.
to jail, or my parents? I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Dad, if the cops come by and arrest you tonight. But no, I had that thing. But you know what? There it was on my wall, right in my bedroom. And I remember my mom coming to my door, and she opens the door one day. Right. And she asked me some question or what, I don't remember what the hell she said, because I was so scared that I was going to get in so much trouble for having the big Marilyn Monroe poster on my wall. And there's Marilyn sprawled out completely, like, naked. And you know what my mom did? You know what she said?
Uh-huh.
I'll give you two guesses.
Okay, hold on. She was talking about something else, completely non-related to Monroe, and she said, "By the way, nice picture there," and went on these things.
Well, I'll leave it with one guess. She didn't say a word. She didn't say a thing. Nothing. Not a thing.
She brushed it off completely.
Not a thing. My dad never said a word. The whole time I had it, not a word. It was like, it's art. Like I was gonna, it's art. Look, it's art. But no, they never said a word. It's like they probably closed the door and had a mental breakdown or something. Like, what am I gonna do? My son's gonna burn in hell. Like,
No, this is
no,
where
like
your mom and dad had that conversation under the pillow.
Did
Honey,
you see what he had on his wall in his bedroom? Like, oh my God, what are we going to do about that? I don't know. Maybe he'll just take it down. Maybe he'll grow out of it.
you know what? He's just growing up. That's what your dad said. He's growing up. Let it out of it.
I guess so. I don't know. I remember that though. I left it up.
That's Lindy Big said something on the chat, and you know what?
Uh-huh.
You had Marilyn Monroe back in my days, since I'm born in 1980.
Yeah.
Well, I had Pamela Anderson.
Oh yes, yeah. He's clapping. He's clapping. Well,
It was
okay.
a good one.
I'm glad you
Nice
mentioned.
segue.
I'm glad you mentioned Pamela Anderson, because that ties into the Turning Point USA halftime show and how
Oh,
hypocritical that all these people are. You know why? Because there's Kid Rock dancing around, lip syncing, and not well. Okay, not even lip syncing well at the TPUSA halftime show. I'm sorry, but it's true. It's just bullshit. Anyway, so the flames and all the fireworks and everything, and there's the guy talking of, the beer drinking, gas guzzling trucker dude with in the shorts and oh my God. Anyway, and he's married to whom? Pam Anderson, Playboy model. Did the movie Barbed Wire, hanging upside down with her cleavage,
yeah.
right? And
That
I
was
remember all
one of
that.
my favorite movie, but not for the action.
And she was a huge Hugh Hefner supporter. When Hugh Hefner passed away,
Mhm.
Hugh Hefner came under severe attack for a while in his death, when
Yeah.
where people were saying he was a sexist pig, he was an evil person because he was, exploiting women and all of those things. Most of that at the time coming from, ironically, the left side of the political spectrum, because Hugh Hefner was really more embraced by the conservative side, and his brand of sexuality, his commercialized, Americanized version of Western sexuality, his cultural ideal of what a woman is, because he really did help frame or I guess shape our view of what a beautiful woman should be by our Western commercial standards. He really commercialized sex. He also, made it okay to have sex and express yourself sexually through the 50s. He was a pioneer in that way, if you want to look at it that way, or he's maybe a person who fostered the degradation and the deterioration of moral values by, in the views of others, right? And ironically, it's
It was
the left.
it was a detachment, if you will, of the church and the purity of the church.
Well, sure, it's been that way all through time, right? It's the Christians, it's the evangelicals, it's even the Muslims, like people who are very religious. They are very sensitive to sexual content, and you can even look at what's going on today. Now it's sort of the other way around, right? It's like the liberals, if you will, they're the ones embracing LGBTQ plus rights. Those are the people who are at pride parades, some of them, not all of them, walking around naked in the parades, right? Pissing off the conservatives. But and then there's Mark Carney, who's under fire from the conservatives because of his book Values, where he simply explores the question, should we allow as a society the commercialization or the sale of sex? He looks at it that way, and because it is a moral issue, it's also an issue of exploitation, and you can frame it in and look at that issue through a number of different lenses: a religious lens, a social lens, an economic lens, right? And you can look at these issues. And I haven't read that whole book, but I know that in that section, he's really asking the question and exploring that. It's a legitimate, important question for society to explore, because you don't want people exploited. But at the same time, you don't want to deprive people of their rights to free expression or their right to earn a living in the way that they so choose, as long as you're able to earn that living without being exploited. And is there much of a difference between, say, a woman who's exploited because she's selling sex, and is maybe being exploited by a pimp or a Hugh Hefner or a Larry Flint or a Bob Guccione, through Penthouse magazine at the time, or a child that is, or an adult that's working in a factory for below, minimum wage, or an immigrant who is being exploited by an evil business owner who is like, you can work for me under the table for half the wage and I won't report you to ICE. So, I mean, these are difficult issues, and or are these women being exploited at all? I mean, or strippers at strip clubs, they choose to go there, but it's like people look at them often as victims, but at the same time, it's a choice for them to go, and sometimes they make a lot of money doing what they do. So it's this is a legitimate question, but just because Carney asked the question in his book, people are saying that, see, this is where a lot of these people lose me on the conservative side these days. It's because just because he asked the question, they're suggesting, or they're trying to lead people to believe, that Mark Carney is in favor of exploiting women or people for the sale of sex. And I don't think that's true at all. He's simply trying to explore the issue because he knows it's important and he doesn't want people to be exploited.
I think it's important for every leader, once you step in as a president or a or whatever, prime minister, to ask the question about how you look into, say, for example, prostitution or strippers and all that kind of, all what is in the between of sexual working things. So, all that, where is that comes. And also, it's all about a question, I think, of security for your society in a whole, because there's children's also in there, like you said. And I think it's important to I think it's important for every leader to ask the question, I think. So it's legitimized, I think. He does. I don't know why people goes against him for that, but, and I will ask myself the question: is a woman that, and I knew one actually stripper back in the days, that she was doing it just by choice, actually. So is there something? Is there a element of being taken, or some people would say, are we taking advantage of these people or not? I don't know, but there's a lot of that for sure going on in the back scenes, but to which extent, right? So it's important, I think, to ask the question.
So there's Kid Rock, married to Pam Anderson, who stood up for Hugh Hefner. She was one of the, because he was under so much attack when he died. I remember the public statement that she came forward with, where she was crying, right? And showing her sorrow because there were some Playboy playmates that came out and were making negative comments. And I think there was even a sort of a pseudo documentary made at the time, trying to smear Hugh Hefner and, make something out of it after he was gone. So, couldn't defend himself from the grave so much. So she did, but let's be realistic here. And you even have people like Bill Maher, who used to go to the Playboy Mansion. It was a hangout for celebrities, everybody from, oh my God, like Muhammad Ali to, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and
President
even um, uh, the comedian.
Jim
Same.
Carrey.
No. Bill Cosby, who's now, in jail, right? Because of went to jail and was convicted on a sexual assault or whatever sex charges, right? Which he's fought, continues to try to fight. Shamed because of you know what looking back over time, and this guy was a monster because he was giving women quaaludes, which was one of the drugs of choice back at the time in the day, and then is alleged to have had sex with women who were under the influence of the drug and incapacitated in some way. So there was all of that going on, but there was the phrase, if you remember, what happens in the grotto stays in the grotto at the Playboy Mansion. So if you don't think people weren't there boffing their brains out, just like they were on Epstein Island, or maybe not exactly the way they were on Epstein Island, because maybe they were more careful about making sure that the women were of age. But it's still, that's what was going on back in the day, folks. That's in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and Hugh Hefner, even into his 80s, when he was like in his 80 some years old, he was still trying to play the role of the hip Playboy guy who got all the babes. 80-year-old dude driving around in a limousine. He's got all the Playboy bunnies with him, and
Rolls Royce with 12 girls around him.
It's like it was all a show, right? But the show also involved a lifestyle. It was about bringing the celebrities in and partying all the time. And it was about the smoking and the drinking and the rock and roll and the Playboy bunnies and the sex.
The whole jet sets.
Yeah. And all of that really helped along by the birth control pill, which liberated women in the view of many people, because they didn't have to, they could have recreational sex without being as worried about getting pregnant. It changed relationships. All of those things shaped our society to the point where we're at today. And now, fast forward, and what do we have? Bad Bunny and Turning Point USA. Both sides, I think, engaged in an expression through music that was not entirely wholesome at all. Certainly not by 1950s standards. They weren't singing "Wake Up Little Susie." Kid Rock wasn't singing "Wake Up Little Susie," nor was Bad Bunny. The lyrics in both performances involved explicit content, not wholesome, family-friendly stuff by some standards.
Look, I was a young fan of Kid Rock myself when he started. And look, all what he was saying in his debut was, "I'm the pimp of Detroit." Basically, he's like, he has all the babes and he can sleep left and right however he wants. So,
and look, we have just in the last week, we were talking about Sarah Stock, right? I just thought of this. So here's this conservative trad wife influencer who is now being shamed and doxxed by her own followers and the entire conservative community. Because why? It came out that she had an affair, or she was cheating on her boyfriend, is the allegation, with what's his name there? The media owner. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I really wasn't even familiar with these people until it came up. Elijah Schaefer, who owns a conservative media outlet. And here's, Nick Fuentes. He's been commenting on it. Because she's out there, has been out there promoting traditional values, being a trad wife, which is a big trend right now with on the conservative side, especially the Christian side, or some would even say white Christian nationalist side. And yet there she is going to it was a conservative convention, and she's there, and her then boss, Elijah Schaefer, she was working for him because he owns a media outlet after having created it when he left Blaze with Glenn Beck. And this beautiful young lady doing what a lot of young people do. She goes to one of these events and she ends up having sex and an affair with her boss, who is married. I think his marriage might be splitting up. I don't think hers is. She got married after and was not engaged, I guess, during the time of the affair, but she was still seeing, I guess, the guy that she ended up marrying. So she was cheating. Or so they say. That's the allegation. So there's that. And then, do you know who Clavicular is? This is another guy, not even on my radar until really this week, but this guy's going viral online, eh? I'm so Canadian.
Hey.
So here's more conservative hypocrisy, because let me see if I can find this. Here it is right here. Okay. It's not that he's so conservative, because Clavicular is a very popular social media influencer who is primarily, I guess, on the Kick platform. A lot of followers. I think he's making a lot of money. He was interviewed on one of the conservative platforms at one point. I can't remember which one it was, but he called JD Vance a subhuman, but then called in the same interview, it was Gavin Newsom, Chad. Are you familiar with that phrase, Chad?
No.
It's a new one for me too. It's a new one for me too. Here, let me, I got to show you what Clavicular is all about, though, because this guy, again, Clavicular, this guy's getting all the babes. He's the modern equivalent of a Hugh Hefner, sort of, except he's not really, he's just got all the babes, okay? All these young women are chasing this guy around. He's making bank, and he's doing weird shit. Okay, this is America losing its mind. This is truly, in my view, this is American Psycho. I'm going to show you what it's all about when we come back. I do need to take a quick break, but we'll come back and I'll show you American Psycho on the other side of this.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity, the Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn easy bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, Brightleaf Innovations. Proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea, an exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
Okay. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
Before we do that, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know what I mean by the grotto of the Playboy Mansion?
Yeah, if I do remember well, it was the place where everyone was gathering for partying.
Yeah, yeah, to have sex. So I think, and again, maybe somebody can correct me if I'm not getting this right, but they at the Playboy Mansion, I think they had like a really huge, elaborate swimming pool. And I've seen documentaries, and the grotto was this thing where you could like swim, and then I don't know if you went underwater or whatever, but you go down and then you go into this like enclosed part of the swimming pool where inside there was water, but then you could walk in and it was like still more water and stuff inside, but you could go in there, and that's where all the hanky panky was going on. Oh, there's an old phrase showing how old I am. Hanky panky. See, there's another song with double meaning. Do you remember that one? My
No.
baby does the hanky panky. My baby does the hanky panky. Do you remember that one?
No.
No?
But you know what? Now that you say that, I know what it means.
If I remember right, I don't think there was any. I think that was the extent of the lyrics of that song. Anyway, here's
it's because he did not say spanky.
Well, if you did that, then that would be X-rated. Then see this triple X. This was like 1X. We still got airplay on AM radio. Here's Clavicular. So this dude, who I have not met, was not even aware of his existence until about a week ago, but he's making all kinds of waves online, going viral, and has been popular, I guess, since about the early, well, at least about the last 4 or 5 years, I think, sort of rising to prominence around 2020, as I understand it. Anyway, one of the things he's involved in is, I didn't even know about this. These guys are involved in called bone crushing. Have you ever heard of this?
Bone crushing, like you crush bone.
Yeah, what they do is they damage the bones and in the face, or maybe even other body parts, but they break the bones or damage them so that they grow back stronger to get like a more chiseled look or something.
Okay.
Never heard of it, but like, I don't know. Just if you want to do that, man, just step into the boxing ring and let some guy beat the shit out of you, I guess. Oh, sorry, is that family friendly? No, it's not. Stop that, Rick. You're gonna get your mouth washed out with soap. I'm sorry, Linda.
I'm gonna come over Ontario to wash your tongue.
So this is Clavicular, and the women swoon over this guy, I guess, and
well, I guess it's all started with Thailandese. What they were doing is the same thing with their chins and whatnot to be more sturdy into combat, because, well, that's the thing with, Muay Thai kickboxing, is that you were basically breaking your bones to a certain degree to make them stronger by the qualification. But yeah.
And there's a whole language that I'm not familiar with that I'm going to have to learn what all these new words mean. Clavicular was mid-gesture gooning when a group of foids came and spiked his cortisol levels, is ignoring the foids, well, munting and mogging moids more useful than SMV Chad fishing in the club. So there's Chad, the Chad word, Chad fishing, which I think has a couple of different meanings, if I've learned about it correctly in the last week. Chad, that's like something that came from the incel community initially, but now it can be used in a complimentary way, where because it's about like describing an alpha male when it was originally supposed to be the opposite, which is making it very difficult for me to even understand what these words are truly supposed to mean. But this guy's just, look at all the women around this guy. It's just his fame. And you know what they are? You know what they called these women back in my day? They didn't call them foids. That is.
No, I don't remember though.
Gold diggers. That's what they are. They're gold diggers.
Oh, well, yeah, they are.
That's what it comes down to, dude. Yeah, you're not going to find happiness there, Mr. Clavicular. You're just not gonna.
Maybe for a day, but that's all.
And Lily Phillips exposed Clavicular for shooting his shot in the DMs or DMS. Happy Valentine's is insane. Whatever. Now here's where the conservative hypocrisy comes in. This young lady here, Brett Cooper, another influencer I wasn't even aware of, but these guys are the rising stars of the conservative movement. Okay. So Brett Cooper, young lady, also promoting traditional values. And she's, I believe, married. And she went to New York Fashion Week. And she got to meet the dude, Mr. Clavicular, who was on the runway. They gave this, he's so popular, they put him on display as one of the models, and he got to walk the walk, right? And I don't know how they got this look, whether they just doused this guy in water or what the hell this is. This is his look, though. He was all wet at this New York Fashion Week event, and this Brett Cooper, here he is again, looking all wet. So she gets to go there and meets this guy, right?
To do conservative things or have a conservative conversation.
Well, that's where things kind of get just kind of a little bit, you know.
So what's conservative today? Because if I look, and I may be wrong, but old and classic conservative was lady at home, and there's no cheating, there's no going in the between kind of thing, right? Or see what I mean? And now it's...
Well, here comes Brett Cooper to meet Clavicular.
Okay, yeah, okay. And Brett's gonna, if you want to say hi to Brett.
Brett, what's up? How are you? Amazing.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming.
Good job.
You thought it was good?
The show's very good. Brett.
Okay.
Hi. It's
Hello.
Liv.
Oh my God, Liv! Hi.
I look different
Oh my
because of the
God.
makeup.
You look
I know, right?
incredible. It's because
Okay,
of the
all right,
makeup.
I'm sorry. He's contracted to take the photos.
No, I'm Liv. Nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
he's
Wait.
Yes.
Olivia.
Okay, this
Yeah, I look different because of the makeup.
You do not get
Okay, yeah, okay. And Brett's gonna, if you want to say hi.
Okay, so the allegations here are that maybe there's a little more going on here than meets the eye. So let me find the clip that has everybody talking. I believe this is it right here.
Brett Cooper, I know you.
Okay, let me bring this up. And this is why I'm surprised that women, maybe I'm not, you know what, I'm not surprised. Actually, the opposite. I have to be honest. I do know how women's brains work to some degree, and they are attracted to dudes like this because they're dicks.
And stuff. He's literally.
He's a bad
I know
boy.
you came all the way to Fashion Week for me. You know what I'm saying? I wish we got to talk more, but now that we're both in the same city, DM me on Twitter, and you know, we can make you forget you were ever married. Let's be real. Don't forget about your fucking cuck loser husband, and maybe her and the Botox lady's husband could kick it or some shit.
The funniest part about this clip is like, even while he's like, you know, he's trolling and stuff, and he's literally like mogging and looking at his jawline mid-clip. He's like, yeah, like once you're done with your cucked husband and your little bitch, come DM me. It's like he does, you know, he's turning, like there's no reason for him to be looking. He's like going all the way over here.
Don't forget about your fucking
like mogging.
Maybe her and
Did anybody catch that, bro? He like
forget about your
ready,
fucking
look. Bro, man. This Morgan shit is so funny, bro.
Rec group, right?
Mogging. Got to look it up. What the hell is mogging? Is that when you're just looking at yourself and
No, it's the mug. It's about showing your mug. Like if I would do that.
No, it's mogging. It's mogging, I think is the word. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's another one here too. I have to find it for you because this is just rich. Let me see if I can find it here. Clavicular. I think this is the clip. What are you laughing about?
CBC said broadcasting from Mum basement telling US about life, right? Probably they have no life. But careful, CBC. Our friends Rick take care of Mum too sometimes.
Whatever. Do me a favor. Look up the word mogging in AI, will you? And find out what the hell that means, because I still don't know. I think it must mean, looking at yourself and because I'm trying to find this clip of
So let's say, okay.
What does mogging mean? What's the definition?
Grug's thinking. Mugging, or mug. Mug. It's a slang or outshine, outperform, dominate someone else, especially in terms of physical attractiveness, style, or overall superiority. So basically, I show up my superiority by being more beautiful than anyone else or whatever. Form of narcissism at the other day.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. There's another one out there too. It's called looks maxing.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here's the clip I was looking for of Clavicular, where he meets this this influencer's manager, and this is the manager of model Liv Schmidt at Fashion Week in New York. And listen to the way he talks to her. I guess this is the new thing. I guess when we've been hearing for the last few years that women are looking for strong men. This is what you got, ladies.
The whole thing with like Liv Schmidt.
Who is that?
That's I manage her.
You manage her?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this was like the video that you wanted me to show you because you probably didn't know about it.
No. Wait, could you show me her like without her? Yeah.
She's banned off TikTok.
All media's in the room.
Let's see. Do you mind? Damn, she's hot. Who?
That's it.
Okay. Yeah, she's really hot.
Wait, I kind of want a picture with you.
What?
He likes Liv Schmidt.
No, yeah, I was talking about her. Yeah.
Wait, I kind of want a picture with you.
I kind of want a picture with you too. You know what I
Do you
mean?
mind taking it?
All right, let's do it. Come on.
Am I gonna get wet?
I mean, maybe.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Am I gonna get wet? Maybe.
So what I heard at first is that she was showing her phone to the guy, right? Clavitus, whatever his name is.
Clavicular.
Clavicular. And she was showing the name and said she's a amateur. And I think this is the new trend actually, is that girls nowadays love porns, let's put it this way, and they act like, porn star by doing things on their phone and showing off on whatever. So
well, she was showing a picture of this model who was
Yep.
modeling at New York Fashion Week, to Clavicular, because she's the manager for this model whose name is
Oh.
Liv Schmidt. And so he's like, oh, well, she's really super hot. Like, I can introduce you to this model, is what she's getting at, right? So she's using the model as bait so she can talk to the dude. And then she's like, well, I'd like to have my picture taken with you too. And he's, well, I'd like to have my picture taken with you too, baby.
Hope you're
And
not getting too hot or too
and
wet, eh?
And then because he's got the whole wet look and everything, she goes, well, am I gonna get wet? And then he says, maybe. Oh,
Maybe. Maybe, baby.
And that is the state of America. That is American Psycho on this Valentine's Day 2026. See, that is the path to love today, I guess. I don't know that that's a lasting relationship in the making there, though.
It doesn't look sexy, isn't it? Oh, by the way, I got to say that. Did you know that our beloved ex-Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is coming back to Montreal?
He is?
He's coming back to Montreal, and probably not alone.
With Katy Perry.
So we can have some two lovebirds around here in the city of love of Montreal.
And they're planning to have a love child.
Oh,
Yeah,
because
gonna
she's,
have a
I think,
baby.
already. Is she already pregnant?
Well, I don't think she's pregnant yet, but they were talking about having a baby. A bebe. Because she's having an affair. Well, no, she's having a relationship with a prime minister, she said. Oh, a prime minister. Well, former prime minister. He's still a celebrity, isn't he? He is Canadian political royalty. Oh, but you see the hypocrisy here. You see, this is what it's all about, man. This is the state of society. Does anybody want to call in tonight? I'll open the phone lines. You know what I'm going to do here, Ian? I'm going to send you the link to the phone system so you can log in by video over there so you can hear anybody that might call in, and then we'll continue our conversation.
Perfect.
Get you the links here and everything. So get you set up first. Yeah, I think I'll send you this link. Hang on. Email it over to you. You can join by video. Just a moment while we get this all set up here. And there's, Rising Dragon. There you on my list. Ladies, calm down.
Rising Dragon.
Wow.
I'm sorry, guys. Sometime we need to make some jokes to make things sane. So bear with me. That's the way I do things.
So there's that. And while we get everything situated on this end, I'll run the promo with the phone numbers so you guys can call in and join the conversation if anybody wants to. And Ian, I will see you over in the other googly thingy and the other window. And should have the link in your email. Do you see it in there? All right.
See it.
Let's see if we can get you in there. Here's the number to call, folks. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Exercise your right to free speech. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Followed by the pound sign. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you. All right, let's bring Ian in this way. And I will put the number up on the bottom of the screen. If anybody does want to join, we'll stay on for a little bit longer in case somebody does want to phone. And the number to call is right there. It is 1-647-734-4220. And the PIN number, when prompted, just punch in 860-075-764, followed by the pound or number sign. And I'll leave it scrolling on the bottom of the screen so you guys don't have to guess or memorize or even write it down. It'll be right there for you to refer to. So we've kind of covered a lot of ground tonight in this conversation. And I think that the takeaway here is that there is always the Bad Bunny halftime show, the Turning Point USA halftime competing show, alternative show. They, for me, just show that it was something we've always known, and that is that music has always been controversial. It always pushes the boundaries, whether it's Elvis the Pelvis or the Beatles and some of their songs that have generated controversy through, references to Jesus, in news conferences, John Lennon, both in the music, outside of the music, or Marilyn Manson and satanic rockers like Alice Cooper, with the theatrics, and then the contrast, the
Ozzy Osbourne is one great example too.
Yeah, I mean, and then when I look at what goes on in MAGA, there's contradiction there, which I laugh about it because you have so many people who are kind of against. Hang on a second. I'll just have to read messages. What is this? You can call in. Linda's saying people are confused about what to talk about. We've been on here for 2 hours. If you can't figure out what we're talking about, maybe you shouldn't call in. We're talking about pop culture, music. We're talking about contradictions. Okay? We're talking about how music influences society. It's the whole ongoing conversation about all of this. Okay, we've got somebody joining us on the line. I thought we did. Maybe they signed off. Didn't get him in time, I guess.
We could also go, or if you want to call in, guys, you can also interact on movies and Hollywood, because Hollywood is part also of the whole thing.
It's the larger question of, does art influence society or does society influence art? It's about music. It's about whether it's the whole Bad Bunny controversy. Oh my God. Well, it was too explicit. It was a middle finger to America. It was gross. It was sinful. Well, we've heard those same comments through history, whether it's jazz music, blues, Elvis Presley, Wake Up Little Susie. These are the same arguments that have been made all through time. And you look at, music and movies. You look at movies like Footloose. What was that about? That was always about that. That's a movie about dancing and how it's sinful, right?
Well,
and how they tried to ban dancing in a community.
I think to answer the question, we need to decorticate and probably make a basically do an incision all that. What is
somebody's on the line here.
Art?
Who's
right.
joining us now?
It's Sharon from Brandon, Manitoba. Rick and Ian.
Hi.
Hey, Sharon.
Are you confused? Do you understand did we just waste 2 hours talking so that nobody understands what we're talking about? I don't know.
It's like it's been quite the evening with you, Rick and Ian. It's almost like, wow, this is a side of these guys I You know, like I haven't seen the heard this. No, it's so yes, it's from a a guide perspective. It's interesting to listen to from as a woman, and
I'm sure that it is. Sorry about that.
And looking over the chat, it's been hilarious. It's been pretty good at times. No, I just wanted to call in. I hope that other people do as well, just even for a few minutes, just to give their 2 cents. But I think from the beginning, I was indicating, for me personally, Rick, I think it was just unfortunate that there had to be, just to change the topic a little bit, where like for the Super Bowl, in the sense of unity, it's just sad to see that there had to be, for whatever reason, I don't know, 2 different performances, as opposed to one performance taking place for a worldwide sporting event. I'd indicated. I mean, this is something that's really, really, truly big, and it's just I'm just amazed that it worked out the way it did in America. I'm surprised they had 2 different events as opposed to just one. What do you think? What do you guys think?
Well, you go ahead, Ian. Do you have a thought on that? I do.
Actually, it's hard to say, but what I think is that no, there's an hypocrisy in that, and I think you're right. There's something wrong in there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like you had 2 sides, kind of coining each other's, if you will, and that's kind of crazy. And you know what scares me? And Rick keeps talking about Turning Point US, and I know that there's actually a Canadian version of that is going to appear around. So, I mean, what are we seeing in Canada is the expansion of the American concept and the American culture in our country to a certain degree, where it's
well, okay. So the 2 shows, it shows us that America is divided. It scares me.
Yeah, it's just sad
because it is on display in the streets, where violence has now become an accepted part, I think, of political expression and part of protest. And that is something new not entirely new in America. For me, we have seen instances of that, but it is new in the sense that it is becoming more pronounced in protests at the street level. And that is where the battle lines are right now. We are at war. We're at war in Canada. They're at war in the United States. We're both fighting, I think, related wars. That's why this stuff scares me. It is also being fought in the information space, in the social media space, in the pop culture space, which is why we're talking about this tonight. It was being fought at the Super Bowl, as it was before with Colin Kaepernick taking the knee, and that became a whole social media controversy, which bothered me at the time. I didn't like to see Colin Kaepernick take a knee when the national anthem was played. It made me very uncomfortable. I don't like it, but I understand it. Nevertheless, I really don't like it, and I don't like to see the 2 different halftime shows at the same time.
Yeah,
they're pushing, both sides on the issue, pushing political messaging and expressing themselves through the art, and pushing the envelope in that respect too. And that's why, and the NFL, because you have so many players that are black, right? There is a real culture there of protest, and they want to express their views, and the NFL supports them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's on display there. And then you have sort of the, I'm just gonna say the more white America back on it. We don't want to hear any Spanish. Well, I'm that's not me either.
I made a point in the chat too, Rick, when you were talking about that, and I thought for me, because the official language in America is English, and the universal language of business is English.
No, it's not.
And because
they don't have an official language in the United States.
I thought it would. Oh,
they don't have one.
Well, I
You can look it
assumed, so
up.
that was my mistake. Okay.
Yeah, people make that assumption, but it is not true. They do not have an official language at all in the United States.
The official language in Canada is English and French.
Yes.
It's officially stated, but in America, it's, okay, am I saying it correctly when I say the majority of Americans learn English or use English as the language of business?
I'd have to look up the stats. I don't want to speak without being sure about things, because you'd have to look at like all the different languages that are spoken there. As much as people want to think of the United States as a melting pot society, it really has not become that, because their experiment in multiculturalism, which was to try to create a melting pot where everybody becomes homogenous American. It hasn't worked out that way at all. People still cling to their religion, to their ethnicity,
of course,
to their tribes, their communities. You know, whether they're Italian or Polish or
Irish or
whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we've had here in Canada. So the two countries, even though we've tried to be on different paths, I think we've ended up in very similar places.
Well, for me personally, I found it. I just kind of, I kind of questioned it where he was singing his entire performance in Spanish, and I found that, well, I found it a little bit disrespectful, because I thought, well, you know, you have a worldwide audience here. You're in America, so couldn't part of his performance have been, you know, like half in Spanish, half in English? I didn't really appreciate that either. That's just how I felt about it, Rick. But
why do you think it was disrespectful?
Because I don't think a lot of people, I don't think the majority of people in America know Spanish. We're not there, you know, it's not Mexico, it's not another Latin country, a Latin American country. So I can see that being,
if they were like Canada, Spanish would be the language. Like that would be like the French version. They wouldn't be French, it would be Spanish. And even all my friends down there in Texas, a hell of a lot of Spanish spoken down there. And the closer you get to the Mexican border, the more you find Spanish. Spanish everywhere, man. As much as everybody thinks of Texas as being this redneck cowboy boot trucker country with great big cows and cowboys, there's a lot of Spanish, a lot.
Well, we can look it up into a Quebec real quick. I can give you a quick Quebec lens on it. Well, in Quebec, and we got a law called the Bill 101, which we need to have like French and everything with English, right? So thing is that when you go at school in Quebec, the second language that you learn is English, right? Because the world function in English. When you're gonna work, or if you don't speak both language, you might not have any job because you can't speak fluent English. So
I think that's where my assumption came in. Yeah, my assumption, that's where it came in. I was thinking more of the international language of business is English, but yeah, go ahead, Ian. Sorry, go ahead.
That's what we are told in French school, basically. It is how it works in the business. So we need, it's like the universal, English is the universal language for business.
Of business. But in the court system, in America, because I'm not familiar with it, it's mainly it's in English, correct? It officially is in English in America.
The
court system
in the school system,
judiciary. The judiciary, the courts in English?
I can't say, Sharon. I think it would vary
Okay.
from district to district and state to state. A lot of these things fall to different levels of government, and I would think that they bring in translators, especially in
Oh yeah, yeah.
communities where you have heavy Hispanic populations, and they probably accommodate people with other languages as well, just as we need to here, because you can't put someone on trial if they can't understand what is being said to them. So,
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
what I've heard from some American friends actually is that at school
Yes.
in America is that their second language that often they will learn, and
Spanish.
it's optional, is Spanish, because of there's a lot of Spanish people in America, so it's kind of de facto like the second most talked language
That's
in
why
America.
when I was in college, I decided to take courses in Spanish, because at the time the North American Free Trade Agreement was being negotiated, and I thought as a journalist that would maybe open the doors to more opportunities to cover stories,
Yeah, yeah.
and go down into like Mexico and the southern U.S. and do international stories on trade and economics at the time. So that's why I started to learn Spanish. Of course, it didn't work out so well, because now I mix up my French, my English, and my Spanish, and now I'm just now I sit here for 2 hours and talk, and people can't even understand what we're talking about. That was what I'm told. No wonder.
Well, the little French I took, I do think that French is a beautiful language to speak. I wish I could speak it more fluently. And definitely when I was down in the Caribbean as a travel agent, I mean, just for, travel promotions of hotels and such. And I was interested in learning more Spanish. So yeah, again, it's also a beautiful language. So yeah, I stand corrected in the sense of just assuming that it was an official language, but English was the official language there. So now I've learned something tonight about America and their policies as far as immigration and requirements and people here, like the majority of people in America that, what they speak. I'd have to check into it more, because I made a big assumption there. But also too, I wanted to point out that when you were talking at one point about shows like Benny Hill and the sexual undertone, or and how accepted it was, or just it was rated. It was, how do I say this? No, it wasn't in your face, but it was presented in a comedic way, and it just reminded me of so many shows. Rick, not so much you, Ian, but maybe you remember some of them. But for me, what struck out to me as comedic and funny, and many in the chat were indicating, Archie Bunker or MASH or Laugh-In or Simon and Schuster, Dick Clark, that those type of shows where you were talking about shows that were, I don't know, just different. You were even talking about burlesque, and I was indicating that I thought it was very artistic. It was classically presented, as opposed to today in 2026. It just leaves nothing to the imagination now, and even in the language, and I'm thinking, I'm going all over the place, but I'm thinking even in poetry or classical English novels, or the way that poets or authors would describe life or events. It was beautifully said, and now it seems to be just so direct, blunt, and doesn't leave much to the imagination. That's my 2 cents.
Well, look, I mean, we had that also in cartoon. If you remember, Rick,
yeah.
Bugs Bunny had some sexual innuendo as racial innuendo. And like you said, Sharon, it was not in your face. It was, passed under the rug kind of thing to make it look normal kind of thing. So that's what it is. And
what's cool about, go ahead.
Well, I can have I was thinking about another contrast, actually, and I got to remember what it was. Actually, that's weird. Sometimes my memories go blank like that. But yeah, H.P. Lovecraft, for some who knows horror novels, this guy was born in 1890, and okay, basically in the 20s, he was writing about cosmic horror. And one of the thing that people doesn't know about Lovecraft, he was bigot and racist, and also misogynistic. And the thing that he was writing about the creatures of, the cosmic creature that was depicted in his novels and story are not only like the depiction of knowledge and all that, and the corruption of what is to know too much, is also women's and stuff like that, because he was making the same innuendo, if you will.
Mm-hmm. What's cool about Bugs Bunny is that adults can find it funny too. Like even as an adult, if I do come across those vintage cartoons, even as an adult, I find it quite funny. Like children found it funny, and so do adults. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just thought I'd call in, and hopefully others will give their 2 cents, Rick and Ian. And put it this way, it's been a very interesting a very interesting show so far.
I just want to check something before you go. Like,
Sure.
and before I get into this, the whole thing with Puerto Rico and Bad Bunny. See, a part of it, one of the reasons he sang all in Spanish is because it was, by doing that, it was also partly a statement saying that Spanish is part of America too, that Puerto Rico is part of America too. And a lot of Americans don't even realize that Puerto Rico is part of America. But the people in Puerto Rico feel very much marginalized, and they're like second-class citizens because they don't even get to vote in presidential elections. Because
I didn't know that.
Because they're only a territory. They're not a state. So a lot of people view that as taxation without representation. And the people in Puerto Rico feel like they are not really treated fairly. They have some advantages on the tax side, as I understand it, in Puerto Rico. I'm not fully versed in all of the issues surrounding it, but the United States took over Puerto Rico in around in the late 1890s, I think. And today, even today, they don't have full statehood, and yet, and when people, you have to keep in mind, okay, this is an island or a place that has been taken over by the United States. And when people say, well, English is the official language, or you must speak English, well, excuse me, but you came and took us over, right? So we didn't ask for this. We didn't move to the United States. You're assimilating us. You're annexing us. And now you're saying we must be what you want us to be. If you had just left us alone, we would have been on our merry way, and we would have continued to just speak Spanish. They still speak Spanish, right?
Oh, good.
So, I mean, and that's why that's the sort of the predominant language there, I think. And that's why he's singing in Spanish. It was their way of saying, just as you would in Quebec, right, Dragon? It's like, hey, we're French, and we're going to sing the national anthem in French, or we're going to perform like René Simard on the CBC, if you remember René Simard. Right?
Name sounds familiar. Yeah.
So
I know René Simard and his sister, actually, Nathalie Simard, who was actually there's a lot of things that happened to her actually in her life when she was part of the Montreal studios back then. And there's a lot of controversy that had happened to the Simard family, actually. Sexual assault and stuff around that line, actually.
Sorry, go ahead. You go ahead.
I just want to point out, I appreciate you pointing that out to me. I hadn't really thought about that, or even knew that they weren't given full statehood or recognition as a state, only as a territory. So again, not only am I entertained in a very interesting way, but I'm learning all the time. So Yeah, thank you for that. That makes more sense to me now. Why he sang in his own tongue and was representing a part of the United States, but he is from Puerto Rico, and this is who I am, and this is my performance. So that makes more sense to me now. So thank you for that.
So I stand corrected on the language issue because it did change last year. And I knew that Trump wanted to do this, but I didn't realize it had actually been done. But how the hell would you know that this happened with the flurry of executive orders that this guy signed are like a record number? And I guess there, out of the hundreds that he signed, one of them was a declaration by one guy to declare English as the official language of the United States. And it's been very controversial, and I'm looking it up. Because, you know, not everybody feels that it should be done by one guy, but he did it.
No.
In March of last year. And so
No, that's the thing that bothers me. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
And this is why I keep saying, I keep pointing out to people, like the Canadian system, heavily criticized by these people on the US side in particular, and the pro 51st staters, you know, that would never happen with the stroke of a pen in Canada. You know, it's never happened to Quebec. You'd never take their language and culture away with the stroke of a pen. So back in March, I guess Trump, as part of his flurry of EOs, he made it the official language.
Yeah, that's probably where that stuck in my head. I thought, wow, that's been passed. Okay, but as you point out, where I do think it's not of, by, and for the people is where it needs to be recognized by the representatives in the House and the Senate that this was. Oh, go ahead.
So I mean, again, like, so if you're in Puerto Rico or if you're Hispanic and you're living in America and you have this culture and this language,
it's a beautiful
how does that
culture.
make you feel?
Yeah.
And how does Bad Bunny feel? Like, this is part of his message, right? He's like, hey, we're here too. And that's why people like there were jokes being made about deporting Bad Bunny and deporting him back to Puerto Rico. Well, that's pretty disgusting, actually, when it's coming from a political commentator, because that's an insult. That's saying that you're less of an American than somebody from a state, maybe a English-speaking predominantly white state.
No, right? I'm kind of speechless right now. I didn't realize that was being suggested.
I've heard people saying, Megyn Kelly freaking out. You know,
so Rick, you're telling me that tomorrow morning, if we would to become a 51st state, so basically the English would be now becoming our first language, and so basically what would happen to Bill 101? Bye-bye. There's no more Bill 101. My French culture, you can shove it where I think. It's like, okay, so we're nothing anymore. We're just nothing, and we've been fighting for our culture for so long, and preserving it.
And I've said that from the beginning of this 51st state debate. I've been warning everybody in Quebec about that. I've been warning people out in Alberta. Alberta has, you know, its own sort of way of life and its own culture too. And you have you have First Nations peoples out there, all the First Nations communities. They have their languages that they're trying to preserve, their cultures they're trying to preserve.
A nation within a nation.
That is right. And Trump does not give a damn about any of that. I've been warning everybody about it. I'm like, you think that you're going to live your life the way that you've been living it? Even the white Anglo-Saxon or Anglophone Albertans out there, it's going to change. They don't give a damn. It's not about, they don't care about your culture, your way of life, or anything. You're just going to get swallowed up and assimilated. The United States is like the Borg. And even without
it's like the what? Sorry?
They're like the Borg from Star Trek. Like they assimilate everything, right? That's what he is. He's the Borg. That's what that's what MAGA means.
Resistance is futile. You will be assimilated by
Oh
the
no.
by the collective.
So
I'm a tricky, I know.
yeah, but and that's why I don't know. It just seems that's the disrespect. See, that's
no,
Puerto
that's
Rico
true.
has
That's
been
true.
disrespected since it was annexed, since it was taken over in the 1800s. They've been treated like second-class citizens, and they still are.
Do you know that they don't vote?
Yes,
or
I know.
something like
They
that.
can't vote in presidential elections. So here's a guy who, with the stroke of a pen, is trying to take their language and culture away, and they couldn't even vote one way or the other for the guy.
No, that's not right.
They don't even have a
No.
say.
No, that's not right either.
So
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I
totally
didn't
get it.
realize. Yeah.
And I apologize for not being up to date on all those EOs, but that is part of the MAGA playbook, right? They've been flooding the zone. I don't how many. I'm going to look it up. Dragon, can you look that up? Just how many executive orders has President Trump signed since coming into office?
Oh wow!
Remember the first days of his administration, where he just sat there for I think 2 straight days and just signed EOs.
Yeah, steady. Yeah,
steady. And they're like, yay, you don't even know what he's signing. He doesn't even know what he's signing. He's talking about the auto pen. Do you really know what the hell you're signing, man? Like constantly signing. Could you imagine the backlash in Canada if Mark Carney just sat there and signed executive order after executive order, making declarations? People would not stand for that here. That's not democracy.
No.
But that's
No,
why
the
some
hockey
people in the
sticks would
States
come out.
Yeah, that's why people in the States often say we don't have a democracy, because they don't. They have a republic.
don't.
But go ahead, Ian.
Yeah.
I got an answer for you. It would be 460 executive orders across both terms.
One guy.
Just the both terms. But hold on, I'm trying to see how many. So we're at 225 since the beginning of the second terms.
So here's the thing. All right. So please
But
forgive
Rick,
me
there's
that
a
I didn't know.
procedural.
Yeah, go ahead, Sharon.
Okay, but there's a procedural term where I don't know if I heard it on Bannon or somewhere, maybe even on your show, where if they can ratify it or if they can make these orders, some of them. That's it. To make it stick. That's what that's where they'd have to go to the House and Senate.
Yes, because then it becomes a legislated law. Right now, all it is an executive order. And see, even this language, EO, that could change with if they elect a Democrat as president. That could be rescinded instantly.
Yeah.
But until then, this is what you get. So 200 and some EOs, which effectively becomes the law while Trump is in office, unless rescinded
while he's in
by whoever
office.
comes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It doesn't seem to me. I don't like the system. I don't like it. It's not democratic. I don't think.
Okay, Rick, you're saying that you're saying there's been a flurry of EOs, executive orders, right?
Mhm.
Why is he so madly working towards these big systemic changes? Like there's something going like, and well, you talked about this before, and I need to keep in mind the hemispheric battle.
That's what it is.
And is there people or groups among higher than them that are looking down at us, laughing, thinking, oh, this is working really well. Everyone's hating each other's guts. We're dividing everybody up, and the war, and the world is going to hell in a handbasket. Like what the is what I keep thinking. What the heck is going on?
Yes, but it isn't, it isn't really as complicated or as conspiratorial as people think. It's just very straightforward. You have the 3 big leaders now, the big guns, right? The big gangsters: Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump.
And they're all getting
Trump's
along?
the biggest fish. Of course they are. They do, but they don't, right? They're all gangsters. And so you have to think of it in those terms.
Yeah.
They get together in Zoom calls, or they sit around a table just like Al Capone and all the other gangsters, right? And they sit around a table and they say, all right, Vlad, you can take this country and I'll take that one. And if you do that, I won't get involved in your turf, man. That's your turf. This is my turf. You stay out of my backyard. I'll stay out of here. Don't come over here and cause no trouble. It's bad for business, man. You know what I'm saying? We need to make a
They
deal.
give you Venezuela
This-
and
Yes.
they take Ukraine.
That's all
You
this is.
scratch my back, I scratch yours.
That's right. Now stay out of here. Now, hey, you come over here, man, I'll freaking kill you. You put one of my guys in the hospital, I'll put 3 of yours in the morgue. You understand what I'm saying? Right? And who's the biggest guy? Who's the guy walking around the table with the baseball bat deciding whose head gets bashed in? It's Donald Trump right now. He's the big kahuna. He's got the biggest military, but you're going to stay out of Vlad's backyard, and he won't bother Xi Jinping too much neither, because, you know, it's bad for business. And you guys just do your thing over there. I'll do my thing. But don't you do business with Canada, Xi, because that's my turf. That's my backyard. We're going to tell those Kanakistanians what to do. They're a bunch of commies anyway. We're going to take over
what
that
makes
goddamn
these three?
country.
What makes these people, like these individuals, and there's so few of them in the world, what makes these people really think or believe that the rest of us, the rest of us, the 8 billion or 9 billion of us will put up with it? We'd accept it. I mean, what makes them think that they can actually accomplish this or follow this through? Is it their like are they assuming, well, these people, the rest of us are so weak and unimportant, and they're so afraid of change, or their fear of death will allow us to do anything to them? Like, they don't know that. They don't know that. How do they know that people are going to just go, kneel and stay on their knees and won't stand up? Like, what makes them think they're in charge?
They fear the day when that happens.
I hope so.
So they do things to keep people, like, this is the thing. They don't really want to kill you. Okay. They don't really, I don't believe that at all. I don't believe they want to depopulate the earth. They want you alive, and they want you working, and they want you generating income, right? The danger is with AI, a lot of people may become very unproductive and unnecessary, but they will still keep people fed and watered and amused so that they don't rise up. If the people start to starve, they will storm the White House and put somebody else in there. That's so they keep everybody fed, and hopefully not just with cake or crickets, but with.
Hey, Rick, how is this different? Rick, I'm going to interrupt you. How is this different? How is this movement and all these changes? How is it different now than it was when they had all those riots and clashes between people, the young people in the universities and the police in America in 1968, 69? How is this different? Is it because of social media? And there wasn't back then? Like, what is the difference now where they're making everyone believe, like, well, just go along to get along, just don't raise your voice up. Don't say anything, just get what's mine and to heck with you. And, like, what's the difference now, you think?
It's a changing economy. It's it's being driven by economics and money. Right, because you've got as much as Putin and Xi and Trump are kind of all in on it together, and the people around them, right? There's an old saying: "There's no honor among thieves." So they're not just working together; they are adversarial. That's why you see the rise of the BRICS nations. Like, this is Putin and Xi saying, F you, America, we're going to set up our own financial system. And Trump is like, yeah, you know what? It's not worth a nuclear war, so we're going to pull back. So there's a new geopolitical reality taking shape. And because of all that, you have all these other pressures where you've had immigration, where, the more left-wing people have said wanted more of it, they want less. You've got all of the issues surrounding that, whether it's the bigotry or the economics or whatever it might be, right? So those are the social things that create the skirmishes and the battles that we actually end up fighting over. Those are where the battles are fought, like physically on the streets and the protests, and that's what's visible to people. The bigger picture people don't see because it's too difficult, because we're living in our house in our little town in the middle of America or in Ontario, and I don't know what the hell's going on over in Taiwan, really, except
Yeah.
what I'm seeing online. But that's sort of the difference. And a lot of what was going on in America in the 60s, like after World War II, there was big disruption in World War II and in World War
Yes.
One. But after that, the United States was the dominant power. And so our reality and our vision of what the world is was shaped by that. Now that's all being disrupted because you have the proliferation of nuclear weapons. More countries have
That's
that.
it.
And that's
Yeah,
really
that's
the
it.
biggest destabilizing thing right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it.
People think it's
And-
all about economics. It isn't. It's about the bomb.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? I'll probably take for a moment the theory where actually AI is the new weapon armament race that was back then the nuclear. Then the AI is the new thing. So this is what I think the big force or the big leaders like Xi Jinping, Putin, and Trump, what they want is the freaking big AI that is made for military strategic movement and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's the nexus now. So that's what we have.
It's the key.
And
It's the key to solving debt. It's the key to keeping people alive. It's the key to increasing productivity in a way that we've always done in our society, whether it's through the Industrial Revolution or the computers and just all the things that we've used in CAD CAM design and assembly lines and on and on and on. AI is the next evolution in that process. But as a result of that, it's going to displace a lot of people. And that's why they want to bring in universal basic income. It isn't because they want to enslave you as such. It's because they want to keep everyone calm. They don't want you to rise up. So as you lose your job, they want to at least give you enough to live so that they don't have massive uprisings of people and lose power. So these are, complex
Oh yeah, yeah.
situations and issues, right?
to go back to what you said, Rick, was it 2 days ago? PKX said the same thing that Carney said about when he was at the WEF, when he said that, I'm sorry, but Canadian will have to come to the point where there's a new carving in the world, there's new geopolitical lineup being created, and unfortunately we're part of it. I don't want to be in there, but we're gonna have to do something about it and play the game or die. Basically,
no, we don't have. Yes, he's wrong, but he's right at the same time, because I've been saying this from the beginning as well, at least the beginning of my realization that this was going to be what's going to happen, and it's happening, is that Trump, Putin, and Xi, this is why Trump thinks he's the president of peace. He thinks this is the path to peace because this will prevent nuclear war, because each of the great powers with nuclear weapons will stay out of each other's backyards. And, then we won't have a nuclear war. He's wrong. And we're already almost there because they're so wrong. I've been saying this guarantees World War III. This recreation, this redistribution of countries, this creation of this 3-sphere geopolitical reality is going to guarantee a third world war, because all these other countries, do you think that England and France and just go down the list of all the European countries, you think they're going to just roll over and give up their language and give up their culture, give up their borders, give up their economies, turn it all over to the gangster in the Kremlin? I don't think so.
When Trump started to, and that's why probably you have kind of toned down on the 51st state thing and Greenland, but most of
But
the European
this is
countries
just
said
yes.
we're going to back up those countries if you come around, Trump.
This is,
So
but look, this is just the beginning. This is going to be a long, protracted struggle to survive as a nation state. Look at where Canada is already because of the U.S. influence. Make no mistake, the biggest threat to Canada right now is the United States. Period. It's not China. China doesn't want to annex us. They want to influence us. They want to do business with us. They want to profit from us and with us. But but they don't want to take us over. The United and Russia doesn't want to take us over. They want to stay out of our backyard or Trump's backyard. Trump wants to take us over. And this is just the beginning. And what they're doing out in Alberta, make no mistake, that is a goddamn MAGA movement aimed at just taking over the bloody oil, breaking up the country, and taking as much as they can without having to fire a shot.
the Sun Tzu Art of War, basically how to win a war without drawing blood.
Except, you know what the other thing, Sharon, that really disturbs me about these separatists is that not only did they go down to the United States to meet with U.S. officials to talk about a $500 million line of credit in order to finance this separatist movement and break up our country. That's $500 million of political money designed to destroy Canada. Let's just be straight up about it. The other thing that they were talking about down there was they're going to the United States asking for Trump to help them build up their own military. So you tell me, does that sound like it's going to be a peaceful transition? I don't think so. It sounds very dangerous to me. And this is, again, this is what I've been saying from the beginning. You think that the president of peace is on the right path? No, he's not. This guarantees conflict. And they're not even, they're so full of it. They're sitting there saying that Alberta can be independent. No, they can't. It's impossible. Alberta as a sovereign state is a myth because they are landlocked. And even before they can't even achieve sovereignty through a legitimate democratic process without leaning on and depending on the United States to arm them before they've even gotten out of the gate with this thing. So that's not independence. That's dependence. These people in Alberta are being told that their province will become a sovereign state by people who are already going to the United States asking for assistance, which should tell you right from the very beginning that you ain't going to be independent. You're already dependent on the United States. You're indebted to them to the tune of $500 million before you've even gotten started, and you're asking them for arms. If you're looking to build up a military, then that tells me that they're following the same playbook that has played out and been used in country after country after country after country that has been overthrown, destroyed, taken over, annexed, whatever, regime change, separatist movements funded, fueled, and armed. That's not.
But the majority of Albertans don't feel that way, do they?
I don't think the majority do, Sharon, but so many are listening to this baffle gab, which is nonsensical, saying you should vote for separatism to get more leverage against Ottawa. It'll get us a better deal. So they're lying to you about that. They're lying to you about your pension plan. They're lying to you about the numbers that they're using on the pension plan arguments are out to lunch. They're not accurate at all. It's all BS.
Right? BS.
And there's more security and stability in the pension plan alone by remaining in the CPP because you have more diversification of the investments. And they say, yeah, but it's all invested in the United States or in China. Or it's all bull crap. You want diversification like that in order to spread the risk. And and it's managed by, and I don't even want to get into it. They just,
you don't.
Oh my God. And now you see, you've got me all jacked up, but at least Ian has his Canada hat on.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
You know what? That's how you get subsidized. And I don't want to get subsidized, but you get fucking subsidized.
You know what? I just want to stop for a moment and just think, what was the original heading of tonight's show?
But
what was the original theme that you was for tonight's show, Rick? I didn't want to get you jacked
The
up.
thumbnail
in
says
that
sex,
sense.
drugs, and rock and roll. That's where we
Yeah, there you
started,
go.
and we ended up back over here. But that's because it all ties together, and all roads lead right back to the White House today.
Yeah,
because that's what is in play, and it's not just.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what, Rick? I'm going to. I don't know what to say. I think it's just, I'm going to stay in the present. I'm just going to thank my lucky stars for what I have, what we have. And just like, I think this has been spoken by so many people on your show in the past. You yourself have said, pay attention, stay alert, do not fear, don't be afraid. And I'm just going to go with the flow. Doesn't mean I'm going to just, let things slide. And I'm learning every day new things. So I really I appreciate your show. I appreciate what you guys, what I heard earlier this evening. It was quite the chuckle sometimes. And you guys have a great night.
Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay. All right, Ian, take us home, man. Give us your final thought for tonight.
You want a final thought, or you want final thought?
You do what you want to do, man. You do you and express yourself. It's almost a free country.
My friends, this is Obama, and I'll tell you this one. In this world, we're in an ocean, and in this ocean, we need to take the float. And we just need to hold on tight because, well, we cannot fight against the stream of an ocean. So please, hang on tight and have some fun.
Well, thank you for that, President French Obama. I was expecting a French Donald Trump, but we got a French Obama instead tonight. I will say this, that was definitely...
I was preparing this one.
That was definitely an exercise in artistic expression. And with that in mind, I'll take it full circle back to the original topic tonight, which was all about sex and drugs and rock and roll and free expression and controversial music all through history, whether it's the devil's music played out through jazz and blues or Bad Bunny and Kid Rock and their explicit lyrics, or the Footloose movie, which was all about dancing and, and sin. And or Dirty Dancing, which was about a coming of age story about a young girl and really her first serious romance on this Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2026.
One last, if you will.
Yeah.
Remember one thing, guys, also to you, Rick. Art is a form of expression in the media.
Yeah.
And this is what it is. So that's why it's important to keep our media intact.
That's right. And with freedom in mind, I encourage everyone to dance tonight. Maybe with someone you love on this Valentine's Day. I'll see you all back here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, on the flip side.
All
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.